All right, meteorologist Colleen Campbell is back with us as we track the tropics.
Yeah, Emerald, our first weekend in August is one for the books. We flipped the switch and the tropics are a lot busier than what they were a few weeks ago, right? So Tropical Storm Dexter, our fourth named system of the Atlantic Basin for this year. So far, we've all had tropical systems. That's it. Tropical storms, excuse me. So Dexter formed not too long ago, really got organized here within the last hour. It's located about 300 miles west-northwest of Bermuda. It's not expected to bring big impacts to Bermuda, so that's good. We've been saying how this system will be staying away from land. But here's a cone for anybody curious. Again, we've been saying that it is going to move off towards the northeast, away from the states, away from Bermuda, which is good news. But what about the other storms? Well, we will get to those too. But first, let's touch again on those four named storms that we had so far. We are a little bit ahead of schedule. We had Andrea, Barry, Chantal, and Dexter. Now, if we look at climate data over the past 30 years, I went over this last night, but usually we have our first named storm June 20th. Andrea, we had June 24th, so we did get a slow start to the season. Our first hurricane is usually named around August 11th. So far, we have not had a hurricane for the Atlantic Basin. However, usually by this point, we only have three named storms, meaning tropical storms or hurricanes. Again, we haven't had any hurricanes yet, thankfully, but now we have four. So we are slightly ahead of schedule because usually we don't see four named systems until about August 15th. And again, that's just going off of 30 years of data there. The first major hurricane, Cat 3 or stronger, usually around September 1st. All right, so getting into the rest of the tropics here, we still have this area pretty close to where Dexter is. It's still very unorganized at this time, only has a 20% chance of development within the next week. Then we have this tropical wave that has emerged off of the coast of Africa. That is in the main development region. So when we say the main development region, that's where we look for these little seedlings, if you will, to start turning into tropical systems. So that is something we are going to keep our eye on. However, notice how it's in the open Atlantic, and hopefully it will stay there as a fish storm. This system is actually the one that we do want to pay close attention to, just because it is closer to land, even though it hasn't really formed yet. And again, it's still in its baby stage, as I like to say. So we will keep an eye on that as the week goes on. But for now, Dexter's out to sea, and that other one still a wave, but we are going to look at that too. As we look at satellite and radar here, this is part of what's fueling all of that moisture, right? We have a stalled out frontal boundary to the north of us. That has kind of shifted our winds a little bit. You will start to notice better rain coverage this upcoming week because we have a southeast wind that will start to take over. Lately, we've had a southwesterly wind the past few days. We do still have some rain that's caught up in Polk County, the far eastern edge of Polk County, also southern Highlands County seeing some rain and some lightning too. Otherwise, temperatures are very muggy. Once again, for tonight, we're sitting in those low 80s. Yeah, it's another warm one. We have 86 in St. Petersburg, 11 o'clock at night, and Port Manatee's at 87. So yes, not very comfortable outside by any means. As we move forward into future casts, tomorrow morning we could see a coastal shower for those areas like Crystal River. You may see a brief rinse on your way to work. Otherwise, again, we have those sea breezes that set up from the southwest and the southeast as we move into the afternoon, and it will lead to better rain coverage as we move into this upcoming week. So we have a little bit of a pattern change on the way. Again, no threats to land right now for the tropics. We're keeping our eye on it for you. There's that 7-day forecast.
All right, thank you, Colleen.